Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're going over 6 traps in the Caro-Kann variation. Here we go. We start with the quickie but a goodie with the fool's mate idea. We start with e4, c6, the Caro, d4, d5, f3. We got our fantasy variation. Pawn takes, knight f6. Not a good move here. Here we just get a free tempo with pawn to e5. Knight to d5, bishop d3. Already looking for this kind of idea. And here, knight to d7, typically a bad move without playing your pawn to e6. And now we get to punish them with this very nice idea of pawn to e6. Now, they don't have to take here, but we're going to assume that they do. And now we get that fool's mate idea. It's checkmate in 3. Do you see it? All right, hopefully you do. It's actually going to be queen h5 check, g6. Now, you don't have to sacrifice the queen here if you don't want to, but why wouldn't you? Queen takes on g6. Pawn takes, bishop takes, check. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Bishop takes g6, checkmate. Let's get on to the next one. We got 5 more over here. All right. And a lot of these variations, we're going to be seeing the f7 weak square for the king. We're going to be doing lots of sacrifices for it. Here we go again. e4, c6, the Caro. d4, d5, f3, the fantasy. Pawn takes, e5. This is the main line and definitely one of the best moves to play if you are going to be playing the black side of it. Knight f3 attacks the pawn. Pawn takes on d4. Definitely not the best move in my opinion. I definitely think there's other variations that you should be trying. Bishop c4 right here. Knight to f6. Here we go ahead and castle. Bishop c5 makes sense. They develop a piece and they're defending the pawn, maybe even a discovery check and getting ready to castle. And here we go ahead and play knight to g5 here. And here if they're not paying attention, they're going to fall for this quick trap. Here they castle and now it's white to move and win material. What do you play? Here we get to play the brilliant knight takes on f7 here. Wait a second. It's 2 pieces for 1. How is that good? Here you have to think about the pin. It's going to be rook takes, bishop takes check, king takes, queen h5 check, and king to g8, and then queen takes on c5. Now you're more than welcome to play the other move, which is pawn to e5, but why even lose a pawn there too, right? Here queen h5 check is definitely a better try here instead. All right, on to our next one. Again, the f7 weakness is still there. We're going to go with e4, c6, d4, d5, pawn to f3, the fantasy. Pawn takes, e5, main line. Knight f3 attacks the pawn. Bishop g4. Be careful, this is an unprotected bishop. And like I said, that f7 is always going to be a very good tactical resource. Here we play bishop c4, threatening bishop takes f7 check. Unfortunately, they did not see the idea and they play knight f6. Simple chess. Bishop takes on f7 check. And here, king takes, knight takes check. King back to g8, definitely not the best move. Knight takes, queen takes. And here we're going to say they make another mistake here and they play queen takes d4, allowing a queen to e6 checkmate. Either way, even if they don't fall for this mate, white is still much better as black has lost the bishop over here and they've also lost the right to castle. All right, on to the next one. Here we go. We have the queen b3 fantasy idea. This one's pretty cool. e4, c6, d4, d5, f3, the Caro fantasy. Pawn takes, e5. Knight f3, bishop to g4, unprotected bishop. Bishop c4, again looking for bishop takes f7 check. Except this time they play the right move of knight to d7. Notice this won't work anymore for the sacrifice because after bishop takes, king takes, knight takes, well, they just take back and this even defends the bishop. So here instead we're going to be playing pawn to c3, and this is a very strong idea because it threatens to go queen b3 for a double attack on f7 and the b7 pawn. All right, here we go. Knight gf6 got played, and now we win with that idea. Here we go. Queen b3, double attack on f7 and on the b7 pawn. Okay. Queen e7, definitely not the best move here. Queen takes b7, attacking this unprotected rook. Rook over to b8, being defended by the knight. And here we go. Queen takes on c6. Pawn takes, bishop to f4, a nice developing move, developing and attacking this rook. Here they got a little too fancy and played rook takes on b2, and now we make them pay. Queen c8 check, queen back to d8, and remember, look for those forced moves. Bishop takes on f7 check, king to e7. Remember, we can't take on f7 unless you want to lose this queen with queen takes on d8. So instead, king to e7 the only move, but again, we can remove the defender with another forced move. Remember, checks, captures, and threats. Bishop to d6 check, king takes, queen takes on d8, again for a winning position. All right, we got 2 more up on the list. Here we have the Caro Fantasy Fork variation, as I like to call it. Here we go. This is actually a game I got to play over the board. e4, c6, d4, d5, f3, pawn takes, e5, knight to f3, pawn takes, bishop over to c4, bishop g4, again, that unprotected bishop. This time we're going to punish it in even finer fashion. Bishop check, king takes, knight to e5 check. And here the king goes back to e8. Queen takes on g4, and here they play knight to f6. Now here is a forced loss here, which is really cool. Here we get to play queen to e6 check, and here there's no better move than to play queen to e7, which loses a full rook. Notice that if you play bishop e7, well, it's just queen f7 checkmate, which means you have to block with the queen. But after queen to e7, now we get to do the forced fork. Do you see it? Here we get to play queen c8 check, queen back to d8, and now we simply take, and now we finish with the fork, knight to f7, check, winning the rook right here. All right, on to our last one, and one of my favorite ones. I call this the one, the Caro-Fantasy King Hunt variation, and yes, I have played this a few times in my bullet games. Here we go, e4, c6, d4, d5, f3, pawn takes, e5, knight to f3, bishop to g4, bishop c4, pawn takes, again, not the best variations. Again, we get to punish them. Bishop takes on f7 check. King takes, knight e5 check. And here the king goes to e6. Definitely not the move that I recommend. They do this because they're thinking, hey, at least I could take the knight over here. Well, they're more than welcome to take the knight because here they're going to be losing their queen if not getting checkmated. Here you play queen takes on g4 check. Well, the reason why they played it there was to take that knight, so king takes. And now bishop f4 check. And here the king takes on e4 since there was no other good move for them. I mean, literally, there's just no other good move here. So here, after king takes on e4, there's two winning ideas here. If you want to, you can play bishop c7 check and win the queen here if you want to. Or if you have a finer idea here, you can go ahead and play knight to d2 check, king to d5, and do you see it? It's checkmate in one here. Here you get to play queen f5 for check and mate. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This was 6 opening traps with the Caro Fantasy variation, at least from the white perspective. We'll see you in the next video.